Hello and welcome to the WRRD Podcast. That's writing, reading, recovery, and discovery. Today, I have with me Nick Ruiz and Bryan Morrell, and we are talking about the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle by Haruki Murakami. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
Pretty all right, yeah.
Now, you guys, I've read the book twice. Where are you guys at in your reading of Murakami's work or the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle specifically?
I think I read it the first time like 20 years ago, maybe.
Okay. Dang.
Yeah. And then I've read his like almost all of his books, I think, except for kind of the newer stuff I haven't got into yet.
And Nick, is this your first?
Yeah, this is my first time reading this book and any of his books. So yeah,
So
first
I've
experience.
been through most of his work now, except for the short stories, because for some reason I don't feel like short stories are real, even though I write them. But what did you think coming into this kind of like just raw? This being your introduction to his work.
Well, I mean, I had a little bit of knowledge about him. Like I think, just him being a really uh popular author. I've heard about him.
Right.
I think the only thing I've really heard about him is like this kind of uh the controversial sort of love it or hate it kind of thing. Um, but I don't know, it didn't really stop me from it wasn't too intimidating, and I was excited to get started on this one because I mean you've talked about it before at work and stuff, and so yeah.
Okay. Cool. And Brian, you
Mm.
actually are the one who suggested this to me because I just read like a really difficult fantasy series that I like
Yeah, yeah,
slogged
yeah,
through. And I was
yeah,
like, I fucking need something, man, that's just page turner, easy. And you were like, that was the first thing you said was Wind Up Bird Chronicle.
yeah, yeah. There's like five, six characters.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you read this, you told me that you spent some time in Japan
hmm
and that's when you read it.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
So what did you read it in English?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And
I not I'm not smart enough to attempt it in Japanese.
oh, to read.
Yeah.
Can you speak any Japanese though?
It's like going out of my mind slowly, but there are some there are some words and phrases that like will just stick in your mind forever. So
Okay.
not as good as it used to be.
Right. Yeah, well, how is that like as far as your reading of the book? You've read it twice now.
Mhm.
How uh has that influenced your reading of it? Has it given you any more like context of like, for example, the kind of the like problematic sexual situations that
Yeah.
Murakami writes about? Like,
Mhm.
is that a cultural thing or is that a specific individual like perversion thing? Or do you have any like what do you think about that?
I think that let's see, like a lot of the time it's like a stereotype that Japanese people are just like not sexual at all. But it's always that's all it is though. It's like everyone's individual. Everyone's an individual person, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's pretty much the same.
Oh, as here.
Yeah. But I think it's less of a public thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe like maybe when he's writing these kinds of like situations, which I'm perfectly fine with. I don't view it. My personal view is that it's not like degrading to women, like some people think
Mm.
online and things like that. That's not my personal interpretation of it. Although I can see why people would think that. But as far as this might kind of be like rebellious of him
hmm
to write about it this way. Is that
I think a little bit, yeah.
yeah? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What
Mm.
did you think as well? Now that we're on that topic, what did you think about that, Nick? Did anything like any of the like sexual stuff like jump out at you as like strange and out of place, or was it just like another novel for you?
Not necessarily. Like, it didn't feel too strange. I feel like I knew to expect it somewhat. Um, just hearing things about him, because I think that's one of like the a big talking point about his portrayal of women. At least
Right.
like before I've even read this book, I'd heard other people mention it. Um, and then also like I think there's kind of a trend with like it's almost like uh Japanese culture mixing with American culture when they get like kind of into like sexual taboos and stuff.
Mm.
I feel like there's more examples of like other Japanese creators that like they spent time in America and then their work reflects that in a weird way, and sometimes with some more like different things that are more taboo in Japan or something. Um, I don't know though. I didn't. I can see like kind of like both arguments to it. Like, I don't know. You'll have to come back to me on that one after we talk more about the book, I think.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Yeah, I think that as far as like just reading this one book, and that's why I wanted to ask you that, Nick, is since you haven't read any other um anything else from his body of work yet,
Right.
but like this one I think is probably the most tame in that regard. So like,
Mhm.
as far as like entry point, I don't, yeah, I'm kind of happy about that. That's not wasn't like,
Yeah.
glaring to you.
Because I've heard like Norwegian Wood, people are like, you got to like really go into that with a warning, kind of.
Yeah, and 1Q84. I just finished that one and kind of needed a little break from Murakami after that one.
Yeah.
But
I feel like that some of his books after Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, they give me like a really hard Twin Peaks vibe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
that's pretty cool and interesting actually because like I read somewhere, I don't know if it's in this book, like in the
Mm.
intro, but somewhere he wrote that while he was writing Wind Up Bird, he lived in America and
Hmm.
Twin Peaks was on TV at the time,
Hmm.
which I found it, because I always think when I'm reading Murakami, I'm thinking David Lynch, like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
it's just a David Lynch movie in Japan,
Hmm.
full Japanese cast. Well, let's get into the book. So we start out Wind Up Bird Chronicle with Toru Okada, and if I mispronounce anything, I apologize. But and he is making spaghetti, and he gets a phone call from a woman, um, who says that she just needs 10 minutes to know everything about him. Um, okay, and he's a jobless guy. He's married. His wife's at work. His cat's missing. So what do you think of this opening there, Nick? As far as this, I know my reaction is I did the audiobook version, and that she's very breathy, the woman who calls, and she's very out of breath. Sorry, and perturbed, and
Hmm.
what did you think of this part?
Well, I think it kind of like sets the scene of like anything goes kind of in this story. At least that's what I got from it. From like that opening, it was kind of just like you step right into it. This isn't going to be something that you're going to get a concrete answer to. Uh, and I kind of just like had to accept it from the get-go. Like, okay, this is where we're heading. This is the direction we're heading in this book. Um, yeah, in regard to like how it reads compared to on the page or versus listening to it. I don't know. I don't really remember the content of the call other than it being just like abruptly was the phone sex thing, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
right off the bat.
right off the bat, and it was just kind of like what? But it's a good like introduction into how Toro goes about like any problem throughout this book. It kind of like remains the same for the most part, which is interesting, but that can be expanded on later.
Yeah, like he just kind of he doesn't really have a big reaction. He's just like, okay, now this is happening to me.
Kind of like just
That
too passive about it, about everything.
yeah, I mean it's funny. It was just like an instant sexy mystery, and he's like,
Mm.
all right, I don't want to do this anymore.
I'd rather finish making
Okay.
spaghetti.
Gotta make spaghetti, man. What the fuck,
Yeah.
By Al Dente, I remember that his noodles were no longer Al Dente, or however you say that. Yeah, that
But
like
it's just
I
kind of like the extent of like his thought of it. He's like, well, you just interrupted my meal instead of being like, I mean, he does think about it a little bit, like what was that about? But it's his first instinct is to be like, dude, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
doing something.
I don't
right.
have time for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's not even like, what the fuck? Like I think that's what it is. Because dude, I cannot figure out why when I started this book, I could not put it down. Like the whole like the first time. The second time I took like a little break, I think, around the cinnamon nutmeg area. But like
Yeah.
the first time, whole book, I just fucking sped through. And it's one of the, only books that's done that in the past couple years of reading. So I think that it's because of that specific tactic of like introducing this like mystery and the narrator not acknowledging the mystery of it like at all. So like I was like constantly like what? Like why aren't you the phone sex? Oh, when you're married, and then there's like a toilet paper thing with his wife. He buys blue toilet paper that's patterned, and they get in an argument about it. And she's like, "Don't you know that I don't like blue toilet paper with patterns?" And then he's like, "Oh shit, she's on her period."
Yeah, that's what it was.
Because he knows the moon, like he knows her cycle. So he's like, "Oh yeah, it's this cycle of the moon." Anyway, and I'm back here watching all of this, like, what the fuck? Why are we talking about toilet paper with patterns? I've never seen this type of toilet paper. Does this exist in Japan? Like
Yeah.
nobody's weirded out about it in the weird fantasy world that's going on.
Well,
Like
yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, at least at the beginning of the book, he doesn't seem very interested in any of this stuff
Right.
that's going on.
yeah, yeah, and then later on, he's a little bit more like, now hold
Yeah,
on a second.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like the
yeah,
more his life starts to deteriorate, then he's like, okay, I guess I'll pay attention a little bit more.
right. Maybe I should go down a fucking well now. All right, so we got the missing cat, Noboru Wataya, named after the brother, and Kumiko really wants Toru to find the cat. So she's at work paying all the bills. He's jobless in the Japanese culture, which I think is that's something that at least was pretty important to them.
It's frowned upon to not have a child.
Yeah, like more than in our culture, right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like this is even more, there's more pressure on him, and he's just at home, not really. He's like, maybe I'll work somewhere, maybe not. And she's like, don't fucking work if you don't want to. Fine. I don't care. I'm going to bed. But then she calls while she's at work and is like, you need to find the cat. And my brother, the evil Noboru Wataya, who the cat's named after, hooks him up with these two psychics, Malta and Kritikano. Or well, no, just one. Sorry.
Yeah,
I think
Malta first.
yeah, Malta first. So anyway, let's just wrap on that a little bit. Brian, you got anything to say about Malta Kano and this kind of weird meeting? She drinks water from Malta and yeah.
Um, yeah, it's still at this point in the book, he doesn't seem very interested. He's like, all right, if there's someone that can just help me find this cat real quick. Then it starts getting weird, and it's just I like her character. The way she speaks is interesting. It's just like I think it's just at that point in the book, it's just adding like more to the mystery of like what the hell's going on in this book. Yeah.
Right, which is the mystery. What the hell is going on in this book?
Yes.
It's not a murder.
It's something's going on.
It's not even where's the cat. It's just what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
Do you remember much about this part, Nick, as far as the
Their first
Maltakana?
interaction?
Yeah, and then they talk. She's got a weird hat on.
Yeah. He has to find her, right? He like
Yeah,
finds her at a coffee shop or something.
and
I
and I
don't
think
remember.
she tells Toru that her sister Krita was raped by Noboru Wataya.
Yeah, like right off
Yeah.
the bat, she's like defiled
He-
her.
Yeah,
You're
it's like,
Yeah.
your
you're like, oh
brother-in-law,
damn.
piece of shit.
And he's like, I know, I bet. Yeah, of course he
Sounds
did.
like him,
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so then we have Mei Kasahara, who in the audio book is extremely obnoxious.
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Wind-Up Bird.
That was pretty good.
Very memorable. But I like Mei Kasahara.
Yeah. I like
yeah.
her like arc through the whole book. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
She gets more interesting as time goes on.
But what do we think about, the inclusion of her? Like what I want to know what the fuck she means to you guys. Like as far as for me, man, it's kind of like cuz she's an underage girl that licks his face later.
Yeah.
And then there's also a comment later that Toru says where he's like, "What if I would have had sex with her?" And then he's like, "I'm glad I didn't." There is some weird just one-liner like that. And so I think she represents kind of like an innocence and kind of she killed her boyfriend and I think right in a motorcycle accident or something like that. She represents this kind of like innocence that is in Toru but he's also still indifferent too. Like he's getting these interactions with these people and she is one who's kind of like freeing. And I think she's where the book ends. We end with Mei Kasahara and that's kind of like to me since the book just, you don't know what's going on. It's like that's where we end. That's kind of the resolution. Is like he ends up speaking with Mei Kasahara and that is kind of like he's been through all this shit and he comes back to this place of innocence. That is a very fucking confusing explanation of what I think about it. But what do you guys think about this character?
I know that I mean she's the person that he's most comfortable with. I know that. You can just tell that throughout the book. And I don't know if it's like he kind of wishes he could have her kind of innocence about stuff at some points. Yeah. That's my deep feeling about it.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Like you're right that he does feel the most like open and comfortable with her, and like maybe like even like relates to her the most in a
Yeah.
weird way. That was something that really puzzled me throughout the whole book, and it didn't like throw me off in the moment. Like it was fine, just like I was just reading along just fine, but I couldn't put like two and two together on like what exactly because like she goes on like her own personal journey, but then like you said, it kind of like they're like one and the same. Like, is she just does her personal story matter, or does it just matter in terms of Toro's story, which I couldn't really put my finger on, but it's definitely a at times very awkward, just given the age difference
Yeah.
and her being a minor. It was just
Yeah.
like I'm like there's something being said there, I think.
Right.
But yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Murakami added her just to make it a little more awkward, I guess,
Could be, yeah.
just to make the reader feel like a little more like on edge or something, like something goofy's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
because it you really get like almost like worried when you're reading certain
Yes,
parts. You're
yes,
just like,
yes.
dude, don't go
Just
there.
Don't do it, please.
But then it also is like whenever he can like think those thoughts for himself when we read that, we're like, okay, so he's like aware, but then he's still seeking her out. So it's like, you're like a grown man.
Yeah, and like that's one of the last things he says to her when she fucking pulls the ladder up from the well. Is
Yeah.
he's like, she's like, "Goodbye, Mr. Wind-Up Bird," and he's like, "Goodbye, May Kasahara. You look great in a bikini."
Yeah, you're
You
like, whoa,
know,
wait a minute.
you're like, "What the fuck, man?" But this is like a common thing in his work too. Like every book has an underage girl character
Yes.
that like the protagonist takes care of, kind of.
And they're
But like,
super, and they're always super mysterious too.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, they have like I'm not critiquing his character work because like May Kazahara is a different character than like other underage side characters. But like I don't know. For me, this is one specific thing where I'm like you said, Nick. It's like either this means something or I think it means something. Or it's like just nothing. Like you said, Brian, like where he's just like, I'm just gonna make them unsettled and continue throwing in little
Mhm.
mysteries of like, why do you feel that way, that weird way about this underage interaction? What's
That's
going
your
on with
problem,
you?
man.
Yeah, and and then when I start thinking about that, I'm a little bit like this might be genius at work. This fucking maybe because like the whole book unsettles, and I think it makes you question the book, and then it kind of like seeps into, for me at least, my subconscious, and then
Mm.
it's like that I only understand all the shit that's going on a subconscious level, and so
Right, right, right.
yeah, and so like that's why it's so hard to talk about it. I think like we're
Yeah.
like trying to
Because
discuss it,
it's
and we're
like
like,
yeah, it does get jumbled up in your mind, like what the hell's going on? But yeah, I think you do feel like deep down, like in your subconscious, like I get it, kind of.
right,
Yeah.
right, and that's where with this underage interaction, I'm like, okay, well, what's it doing to me? With like just like a David Lynch film, it's like
Mhm.
why is this here? There's got to be some reason
Right,
why
right.
we have the scene with the in fucking Lost Highway with the tailgating, and
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
but there's got to be a reason besides just David Lynch hates tailgaters and wants to give that cathartic release to the audience. There's got to be something, and it's like then I'm like, okay, well, look within because that's what this is all about, right? So like, as far as an underage having that inclusion, I'm like, is it the way that I interpret it is there's some part of Toru Okada slash Murakami who is still an underage girl
Mhm.
with possible like their own self acting as kind of like predator or kind of like friend slash father figure too. Like I don't know because I feel like a lot of like the sexual stuff that happens, for example, the first phone call is a sexual phone call, and she's saying she's talking about what she's wearing physically. But the first thing she says is it only takes 10 minutes to get to know each other. So she's talking about like communicating with somebody else, with yeah, getting rid of like loneliness, with crossing these barriers. And so it feels like the sex is included, or the sexual innuendo with May Kazahar and with everybody else is included as like a metaphor for getting intimate like mentally.
Mm.
But who the fuck knows?
I know. But yeah, Mai Kasahara has with the when he was in the well and she took the ladder away for like a long time. That was, I think, he was the most upset in the book about that. I think
Yeah.
because she was the like one person he could like trust, and then she was trying to see how long before he died, basically in the well. She was she's like, just one more day. I'm like, yeah. But yeah, I think that's when he was the most upset. It's because she's the person he can trust the most, I guess. He
Yeah, it's like the
feels most
second
comfortable
time
around.
that he has like betrayal. Like his
Yeah.
wife left him, and now this other girl left him.
Which kind of like that makes me think too about the whole idea of, everybody just being a manifestation of like, of the human psyche. Like as far as like his inner child or whatever the fuck, Mai Kasahara is like, nope, you need to stay down there for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
You need to look at yourself and spend some time with your subconscious, because that's where he like enters the dream
Yeah,
world and
right.
stuff, right? Is in the well.
Yep. Or is
Well,
it Dream World?
yeah, or what is right? Did she have an affair? All right, so let's get into that. Let's talk about Lieutenant Mamiya and the well. So this guy comes, it's a friend of Mr. Honda's, who is another clairvoyant guy. He's an old guy, he died. This Lieutenant Mamiya comes and says, I have something for you, Toru, and then I don't remember how, but he ends up telling Toru his whole
Mm.
most of his story and
I think
how.
it's because he didn't know he was going to make it back there to see him again before he died or whatever. So he wanted to tell him the story.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
And so he tells a story about World War II where they went into Manchuria, I think, and they get caught by Russians, and then his friend is skinned alive in front of him. Yeah. So, Nick, what do you think about the skinning? You're a horror fan.
That was pretty brutal. That was
Yeah.
it, and it feels like it comes out of nowhere. Well, not really, but I don't remember how soon it is in that story. But I feel like you're reading that story for quite a while, like the story that the lieutenant's telling. And I mean, it leads to that horrific moment, but you don't really feel it until you're right there and getting those descriptive words about his body getting skinned. Uh, yeah, that was one that like it didn't lose me, but I was like really like thinking it was like maybe like 40 minutes of just this guy's story, and I'm like, where's this gonna go? Like almost forget what I was reading for a second. But I didn't really know what to make of that. Uh, at that point, I think later it works well. It parallels well with after what's his name, the lieutenant,
Yeah.
Lieutenant Mamiya.
Mamiya. After he goes in the well, right?
Yeah, he gets thrown down by the Russian.
Yeah, and then he has you might have to help me out on wording it, but he has that like it's not like an epiphany, but that moment where he's like I think he says that like he wasn't like allowed to die,
Mm.
something along those lines.
Right. Honda said that he wasn't going to die.
Yes,
Like, yeah.
beforehand. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, because Honda's clairvoyant, and yeah.
Yeah, I just like as a like the way that's written, it's awesome where it just take this like now you're in a totally different story. I thought
Yeah.
that was a very, very cool way of doing that. And then later on in the book, there's more to the story and it's very interesting. It's like a book inside of a book, sort of
Yeah,
a little
those
bit like a
changing formats of like here now we're reading that someone else's perspective.
yeah, very cool.
Yeah, and it flows really great too, because you have a first person point of view from Toru, I think all the way up until this point.
Mhm.
and then we have it switch. Somebody else is the eye for a little bit, and yeah, that is it. It is really good. And it flowed really well, and yeah. So then later, Lieutenant Mamiya, is it Mamiya? Do you guys say Mamiya?
Mamiya. Mamiya.
Mamiya?
Yeah.
Lieutenant Mamiya.
Mamiya.
Mommy. Lieutenant Mamiya. So later he comes back. He escapes the well somehow. Is it water?
How
Floats
does
him
he
up?
get out of the water?
Did someone find him?
Is it Honda?
Yeah, Honda found him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he gets out, and then they get caught, I think, again by the Russian or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're with the Russian, and then the Russian curses him
Oh
Mhm.
yes, yeah.
because he tries to shoot the Russian, and he misses like
Yeah.
a bunch of times.
Right.
And then he's like, "You will never have anyone who loves you, and you will never love anyone ever again. But I will let you live."
Can't die, but can't do anything else either.
Right. And then I think Toru says something about was this the gift? He like puzzles over that. Was that the gift that Honda wanted Mamiya to give to him? Was that he knew that Toru and this guy kind of were like directionless and like very alone.
Yeah.
And so then bringing them together, and that is like he thinks that, and then that's why he goes into the well himself.
Yeah, he's like, I know it well.
Right. Hey. What do you think of the well? What's that mean to you? I know like when the well with Mamiya in his story, when the sunlight hits him, it's another one of those times in the book where it's very much like just triggers a bunch of visuals and
Mm,
thoughts for me, and it's completely just self like revelatory. There's nothing in the book telling me any of this, but it's just like when the sunlight hits him and it's warm, and it kind of like gives him this like peace the when mommy is in the well.
mm.
Yeah, I really felt that, and felt like the deeper you go, the more light there is, kind of like that idea. Like the kind of Carl Jungian type
Mm.
thing of like the branches of heaven, can't survive without the roots that go down to hell. Is kind of what I think with the light and being in the dark well. What do you guys think? What did you feel about the well in the whole book?
I think that the whole like going in the well is, even if Toru doesn't know, like that's where he's getting his answers for all this stuff that's going wrong. Like in his
Right.
subconscious, at least. He's not really thinking, uh he's just letting his thoughts flow. You know what I mean? And that's where he can do that the easiest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that perspective works for both like the reader and Toru. 'Cause it's kind of like it's one of those things you just kind of have to accept being down there, and like that's going to get you to where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's where he kind of accesses the dream world every time,
Yeah,
right?
he goes through the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's and that yeah, and he brings
It's
book's so hard to talk about.
that's where he ends up in the hotel.
Okay, he goes through the wall of the well and ends up in the hotel at the end,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Well,
And
no, there was the first time.
okay, yeah, yeah, and then there's a
Need a recap of that first time.
I
He
know.
goes in there, everything's dusty. He sees the hotel staff with the drinks. He
Yeah,
goes in,
Cotty
it's
Sark.
yeah, it's dark, and then the lady talks to him in the bed, but you don't know who this lady is. And then somebody's coming at the door. And I think you're supposed to think that it's Noboru Wataya, right? And he's coming, and then he phases through the wall in the bedroom, back into the well for the first time.
Okay.
And it's a very
Yeah,
brief encounter there.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's like a bellman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something, and then yeah. Okay.
So a
Just
lot of
kind of
things
like
happen.
this happened, I think,
We're just
bellman.
collecting questions in each chapter that don't
Right.
ever get answered.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
Dream
still
world.
I really love that though. The way that the way he shapes that going from through the wall of the well and at the conclusion of the book, like I'd never read a book that was concluded in such a way. But like I felt satisfied, like I know that it ends with the wig factory or whatever with Mei Kasahara, but like the big conclusion for me is like he finds his wife. She's in that hotel. That's who it is,
Right. Yeah.
right? And then
Hmm.
her face is covered in shadow. And she's also the woman who's been calling him to try to have phone sex, to try to get to know him.
Mm.
But she can phase between the two. Um, but then I think that's when he sees the TV and like all the stuff about Noboru Wataya's death in the dream world, and then
Hmm.
she kills him in the real world.
Yeah, like that's what I was like, hey, is this like a parallel reality? And that's Noboru's power, not like uh clairvoyance or whatever. He could just like phase between parallel worlds or something a little bit. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
Which
maybe
makes him
not.
like powerful in that way, to
Yeah.
be able to be in both.
well, yeah, because he like, man, he does the sexual thing, which isn't. I didn't interpret any of this like where he's raping Kritikano
Mm.
and doing weird stuff to his sisters. I didn't interpret any of it as sexual, even though I mean he
Right.
does
Yeah,
touch
yeah,
them,
yeah.
but he like violates them. And
Right.
what I think, what the way I interpreted that was that he is like a almost like a massage therapist, kind of like,
Mm.
but like
Like a soul stealer,
yeah,
sort of.
yes, but like he brings something good out of them because like
Yeah.
Krita Kano, but she didn't want it.
Right.
She,
Yeah.
she words it as a violation that he took away her like desire to kill herself.
Mm.
Was that what that was? Do you guys remember? She like Krita Kano, the one who was violated,
Yeah.
like wanted to die all the time.
Mm.
She's like, I just don't know why, but I always wanted to die,
Yeah.
even when I was a baby. And then Noboru Wataya violates her, and then she doesn't want to die anymore.
Mm.
But is she still miserable after that? Or is she just kind of like
She's like,
a
shit.
void of emotion after that?
Kind
Like
of,
did she go
yeah.
from being miserable to just feeling
Oh.
nothing? Or is it just like I don't remember,
I think she
but
felt nothing and
Mm.
then started feeling after. I think. Because I just remember feeling like there was a positive shift,
Yeah, right.
but that she resented him for it.
Yeah.
mhm. Could she still recognize it as like, no, this was still like a literal violation,
Right.
even if it brought something out? That fact is still there.
Which is like, yeah, the whole, the idea about like trauma bringing about this great transformation that's beautiful, but it's like, this traumatic thing that is somebody does
Hmm.
this to you, and you live through it. And but it is like a very intimate. I feel like he's commenting on some very, very fucking dark shit in this book. As far as like, because he's talking about underage stuff with Mei Kasahara and like using sex as like a more of like a mentally intimate thing, almost like a spiritually intimate thing. And
Mm.
same with Noboru Wataya, where it's like there's this sexual situation, and it's awful, but it brings about this great change and this positive.
Mm.
Oof. man.
Yeah, even if you don't want it, you're getting the change.
Right. Which is like
But then it's
with the well too. It's like you're in this dark, deep, cold well, but the sunlight, and you can't appreciate that sunlight without, being down there.
Yes. Just a lot of things that happen in this book. It's just there's a lot of things.
yeah, that's just one of the many.
Here's one of my notes: the baseball bat, the abortion, the folk singer, the weird sex stuff with Noboru and Kamiko's sister. Like, no actual thing happened in any of those sentences.
Oh man, yeah, the singer. That was weird, right? Yeah.
That was a pretty intense moment. That was like a very looks like out of nowhere visceral reaction to something.
Yeah, because at first he does that. He's like, "Look, I want to talk to you guys about empathy. Hold on, let me put my hand over there." And then when he sees him the second time, he's like, "Hey, doesn't Toru talk to him?"
Yeah, he goes into the house that the guy went into.
Just follows him.
He follows him, and then the guy comes out with comes out with a baseball bat, and he's like, "Yeah, what are you doing in my house, bro?"
He's walking.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Hey, I saw you sing one night. Let me beat you up with this baseball bat."
Like, when you're reading the book, you don't realize that Toru's just following somebody into their fucking house. And no wonder he attacks them.
Yeah, you're like, why did he get so violent? It's like, well, he's intruding. He's
yeah. The way that his narration is so low key about everything that you're just like, okay, now we're following a guy into his house. Of course we are.
Dude just attacked me for no reason. I didn't do anything. I just walked in his house.
Now he's attacking me. Shit. I don't know.
He's beating the shit out of his past.
Oh,
there you go. With the baseball bat, literally doing it.
Dead baby of his past. Yeah. All right, cinnamon and nutmeg.
Oh man, these weirdos.
What the fuck?
They're rich somehow.
I feel like they're in the dream world, right? Or in the secondary world?
No, they're in the.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they meet similarly. How Kreda and Malta.
He's sitting on a bench, and then this lady comes over the first time, and she's like, "What's up with you?" And he's like, She gets him. By this point, he's got that mark on his face, and she wants to lick it. She goes and licks it.
Does she lick it?
Yeah, I think she tests it out or something.
She's like, "That's how I know you're the one."
Yeah,
because she's like keeping an eye on him, like multiple visits. Is it the train station they're at or something?
Yeah, he's like watching people.
Yeah, he's doing.
He just goes out and She's like, "Oh,
why does Mei Kasahara lick it too?" Then
maybe she understands it has that good power.
What does it mean to you?
Tastes like grape, maybe. So basically, he is there to let ladies lick his face and then they feel better.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense. Like that's like some weird like rich people show.
Yes, that's what it made me think. It's like all these super rich people doing the weirdest things, and you're like, all right,
that adds up, I guess.
They like to eat noses.
I really myself tried to like think about what the face thing meant, because what's the other character who has that? Like it was Malta's father has the thing, the zookeeper guy. That's a whole other story in the book. God damn it.
Oh wait, no, Nutmeg's father.
Nutmeg's father. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, had the mark too.
Had the mark too. Yes.
Yes, and then
Mm.
God, and then that's how this. She was. What was her job before, or his job? There was some.
Her dad was the zookeeper in Japan occupied China,
Okay.
and they had to kill all the animals. That was a whole other book within a book
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Nutmeg telling her father's story, or what. I mean, she couldn't have possibly known all of this, right? So where'd that story come from? Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that was an interesting thing. I'm like, where is this story coming from? With the zookeeper and the shooting and things like that.
Yeah. It doesn't. It didn't feel like there was any real reason for it, right?
Right.
Like not like even most of the book. You could argue that about anything that happens, but you feel like it has a place. There's a reason why
Yes.
all this other shit is there. You're like, okay, I'm gonna self-reflect on all the shit that I just word saladed a few minutes ago about the well. Like, it did a thing to me inside. But like, yeah,
Right.
malt or cinnamon and nutmeg stuff doesn't. It's just like weird stuff,
Mm.
which is
And
fine.
I think at that point in the book is when it does like a shift, I guess. Is that for anybody else where
Yeah,
it's
it's a
like
big shift
a
from
big
the rest of the
shift to
book.
like, yeah, right, where it was like all about this in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's about like nutmeg and they're building this house and all that stuff, and you're like, oh, which was it's a little jarring, I guess. It was for me, at least.
Definitely. That was,
But maybe that was Murakami's intent, is just to like rattle crap up one, like, yeah.
was this
Right.
book released in sections or was it like just as the
Hmm.
full novel?
Trilogy in
Was a
Japan.
trilogy. Okay.
Okay. That kind of makes sense. Or
Yeah.
maybe like just given how, like you said, how jarring that last
Hmm.
section is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like
And
you
I
were
Yeah.
think
supposed to read it in sections, so
You could,
maybe it wouldn't feel as jarring going straight from one thing to another.
right. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
also, I
That
yeah.
think
might be it.
inevitably it still is, even if you give it space, because it's just so different.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. A lot of stuff happens at the end of the book. It's just like a bunch of
Yeah,
things, and you got to try to keep up. You're like, ah, yes, I remember now.
Yeah.
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 Those last like 150 pages, it's just like, and then you have to like play catch up at some point with the things that happened earlier in the book because then they become relevant again in one way or another.
Yes. Yes. Mm.
Well, I
Very
really
cool.
like the as far as cinnamon and nutmeg go, I like the kind of like the whole idea of turning Toru into a dream prostitute, kind
Yes.
of.
That's
And
pretty much what he is. Yeah.
yeah, and that's kind of what Krita Kana was too, right?
Yeah.
And she like made her living by having sex with men in dreams.
Mm.
But Toru doesn't have sex with people. He
Right.
lets them lick his thing, and then he
Yeah.
heals them somehow. Yeah, or whatever. Yeah.
Do they
Eh,
describe both that, like both her and Toro's experience as being like kind of just like soulless though, like for them?
Yeah, kind
I
of.
remember that
That's what
being,
it seemed like, yeah. Where there's like just
yeah.
sitting there with while some lady's licking his face. And he's like,
mm. And it's almost like maybe it's like him getting like maybe he's experiencing that kind of violation on one level. He's
mm,
getting to experience it firsthand, in a way different way. But I don't know, and it's kind of like maybe like a dehumanizing, or just like I don't know. I just remember that being like a very like the way it was described as being like very empty because whenever Krata talks about it, she's like, no, like I'm not actually doing anything. Like it's not actually happening, but it's still like and like she doesn't feel anything physically, but it has to just be like a very disconnected
mm.
feeling, which is strange.
Well, I think that she was like, because he asked her about it too. He's like, "What are you okay with having sex with that many men for money? Doesn't it hurt or something?" And then
Hmm.
she's like, "I don't feel anything."
Yeah.
Like, so I was like, "Why not make money? Because
Mm,
I don't
yeah,
care."
right.
But then I think after Noboru Wataya did his weird shit, then she wasn't able to do like. Then she felt.
Mm.
I think that might have been, which
Yeah.
is weird. Yeah. So, Wind-Up Bird computer stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
So we had a computer somewhere. Where is this computer? Do
It's
you
at
know?
the house that they built for him after he did all the licking stuff. Around the
Okay.
well. The house around the
Yes.
well. Yeah.
Okay.
The secret house where he could just be in the well.
All right.
Yeah. That's
He could go to work in the well without ever leaving his house.
mhm.
And then there's all those news clippings about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those
Yeah.
are pretty fun. I love those.
Oh yeah, yeah. The audiobook, they're over the top. Like
Yes, they're very yeah, very over the top.
they're like the
Newsflash.
yeah. Meanwhile, Noboru Wataya. All
That's
right.
awesome.
So yeah, we're communicating with Kimiko through the computer in 1984. So it's like really strange. But she tells him that she actually, ever since she was violated by her brother, she has sex all the time with multiple partners,
Mm.
lots and lots of men. And yeah, then we have Noboru Wataya's death and all that stuff. Um, yeah, so I mean, do we think that Kimiko was actually having an affair? What What's your take
Mm.
on this? Because for me, I'm like, at the beginning of the book, I'm like, oh shit, like that got me. I was like, oh, that I felt for him,
Yeah.
And then at the end, I was like, I don't know if she's like, I did, and it was a lot of men, so many men. I think she says that, lots and lots of men. I think
Yes.
that's a line. Uh,
Uncountable.
so is she really cheating on him?
uh I feel like maybe I think the first guy probably.
Okay.
That's what I think. Because she explains it well, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she had the same situation that Krita Kano had where it was like mental sex and stuff, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that could be
Yeah.
what she's referring to when she says like the many, like
Mm,
after she's like, actually, no, it wasn't just one guy, it was a bunch. But she says that after the fact, maybe because she's like realizing that, yes, I technically did in a dream world.
mm,
Maybe, I don't know. Though.
Well, and that's a recurring theme. It kind of makes me think of Eyes Wide Shut, which
hmm.
I didn't think that until you just said that, where the whole movie is just kind of. I mean, there's a lot to it, but um,
I
I'm not gonna get into Eyes
haven't
Wide Shut
seen
right
that since it came out, so
now. Let's not break
It's
down
worth
that weird
revisiting.
movie.
Dude. It's so good. I think it's
It
a pretty
is.
amazing movie.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite movies. But it's the whole idea of her having an affair mentally, and it's like very intense, like
Mm,
that she has this dream of having sex with somebody, and then he like goes and goes to the sex party and shit. And so like in the book, it feels like that is constantly happening. We're constantly talking about sex, and we're constantly talking
hmm.
about like how one person can be five or multiple, and if I'm having sex with one person or having, an intimate exchange with one person, whatever it is, how many people am I actually, because they are actually multiple people from second to second or whatever the fuck. Um, so yeah, that's really interesting to think that she's not that, like you said, Brian, she's just having an affair with she had an affair with the one guy, but she's like metaphysically honest about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And then it ends with Toru visiting Mei Kasahara at the wig factory.
Her favorite place.
Yeah. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about specifically with the book? Anything that comes to mind?
Like, I really like the part where he's like, well, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die here, right? He almost dies.
Which part?
He's in the well, I think, and
Oh,
maybe, but he's pulled out by Cinnamon, I think. And you're like,
yeah.
okay. I just thought that was fun.
Yes.
Where he's like thinking about all this stuff, and he's just like, oh God, like, what the hell have I been doing?
Yeah. Does it fill with water at that point?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, 'cause he's like slowly like waiting, and he's kind of like that's when he like doesn't he like actually start to like get a little more emotive and be like, oh
Mm-hmm.
no, because like
Yeah.
compared to the rest of it, where he's just kind of like in these dangerous situations, and he was like, well, yeah, that would, or like whenever Mei Kasahara is like, you could have like died down there, and he was like, yeah, that would suck. If I died down here, that would suck. But then there's like an active threat, and like that's
Yeah,
like one of the few times you see him like actually be like, oh shit, like I'm like actually kind of worried.
mm-hmm.
Right.
I
Yeah, and
forgot
that's when
about that
the
moment.
flow comes back, because that's like gets mentioned a lot too, is that there's no flow to the neighborhood
Right.
Right.
because the well's dry.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
About you, Nick? Any final thoughts on the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle?
Well, after you mentioned Eyes Wide Shut, I see a parallel with like
Yeah,
our
weird.
main characters and like male insecurity and marital insecurity,
Mm.
which I mean the marriage thing is pretty interesting in this book by itself. Um, I don't know. Do you guys have thoughts on that on the male insecurity or marital insecurity as well?
I mean, in throughout most of this book, Toru Okada's seems very insecure. I think
Yeah,
it gets towards the end, maybe he gets a little more secure with himself, and I think, right? A little
maybe he
bit.
learns a little bit, but like,
Yeah. Mhm. He might be less apathetic about things towards
mm,
the end of the book, I think.
Yeah, I think that it definitely brings up for me a lot of, as a married person, married man, it brings up a lot of things as far as when you're having those kind of thoughts. Because I think most people do. I can't speak for most people, but I know I do. Where you will have these like weird fantasies about your partner being unfaithful to you in these
Mhm.
crazy ways. It's like that the book goes into that and like goes
Yeah.
into his thoughts about it, and like he keeps seeing Kumiko with somebody. I think that happens in there, but
Yeah,
like
he's imagining what she's looking like while she's doing this
yeah,
other guy. Yeah.
yeah, then he comes in his pants or something, but like uh it's like I've experienced all of those things, and not the come in the pants part when I was younger, but I've experienced all of those things, and then it kind of like the book I feel like brings out this question of like why, almost like
Mm.
why do I feel the need to like possess this control over another person if I love them? Why does
Mhm.
it matter if they do have another partner, for example, or whatever, or if I do, or if I spend all this time? I don't know, like, as far as the whole societal view on marriage and on relationships is kind of like is monogamous and like is, we're going to make sure that, and if you don't stay faithful, or if you do have multiple partners, or if you don't stay faithful in your mind, like I know with me, if I have like an unfaithful thought in my head, and other people aren't like this that I've talked to all the time, but like if I have an unfaithful thought in my head, I feel shame over that.
Hmm.
And then I feel like there is this block between me and my partner, because if I were to communicate that, unfaithful thought, it's like we kind of like agree as like people in a relationship, like, okay, we're going to be really honest with each other, but also some things we don't need to tell each other because
Right. Don't tell me something that is almost inconsequential that will really mess me up.
Yeah,
right. Fuck up my
it's not
whole
necessary.
So like that's what, like with Eyes Wide Shut and with this book, like that's what it really like makes me, it sends me into that headspace with, yeah,
Mm,
this is a great point, Nick, where it's like yeah, like how close am I to somebody? And
Hmm.
what does it take? And is the sex isn't actually intimate, and then but it's neither is talking, because you don't get
Right.
any answers that way either. So you're kind of like alone.
mhm,
And
mhm.
it might be an example in Tora's character, like, and maybe like their marriage is just like maybe they're just not matched the right way.
Right.
Uh, and then also I think he's just like in this really deep depression, and I think that's kind of a reason for like his passiveness and um the isolation that we see him in a lot of the book. And he's just like too alone with his thoughts sometimes.
Mm,
And I think he's just really dug himself deep. And then we literally see him deep in a well, which is kind of like some imagery, I guess you could associate with depression in a way, even though it works for different things in the book. But I don't know. I think that plays into it. I got a lot of like, I don't know, especially from the beginning of the book, it felt like I was reading a character that was like deep in depression,
mhm.
and he just
Yeah.
doesn't acknowledge it.
Yeah, and then it gets worse and worse and worse.
Hmm.
I remember around the cinnamon nutmeg area feeling like his, I don't know, it like hit me, and that's one of the slower parts for me is, the
Hmm.
zookeeper section and all that.
Mm,
But it did hit me in like the place where I've dealt with depression and stuff in my own life, and like, um it hit me in that place where I felt like he captured that well, even though he doesn't like come out and say it ever,
yeah.
directly.
It's like
Yeah, there's
I'm
a lot of relatability
depressed.
in the.
Yeah, I'm depressed. I'm so sad and I was crying.
Mm.
So overall, I want to know overall thoughts, and then we'll close this shit up, dog. What were your overall thoughts, Nick, of the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, and are you going to continue in Murakami's work?
Yes, I am actually just last month bought Kafka on the Shore, so that's going to be my next one. But yeah, Wind Up Bird. I thought it's not like something that's going to be like an instant favorite of mine, but it's something that it's one of those things like you were talking about like David Lynch movies where sometimes you watch it uh and you kind of like you don't have like the words for it, but you kind of like you're like no, I understood that on some level.
Mhm.
Just don't ask me about it. Uh,
Yeah,
Right. Don't
yeah.
have a podcast about
and
it.
and that's like kind of how I'm feeling with this.
Mhm.
But I feel like just with multiple reads, this is definitely a book that I want to revisit, and I think I benefit from revisiting it. You maybe even like give it some time, like over the next few years or something, and then maybe find something new. But yeah, I enjoyed it for sure, and it definitely worked. It definitely sold me on Murakami, and I'm seated for now at least, unless I hate Kafka on the Shore. But
Well, hey, good news. Most of the books after this are pretty short. At least
Oh, okay.
the ones
Yeah.
directly after Wind-Up Bird Chronicle. Yeah, they're all, you can just sit down and read them like in a day. Very cool. Quick reads.
Except for 1Q84.
Yeah, that's a very large book. It's on my shelf in the other room. It's too big. I'll get to it someday. Okay.
Is that one that you're reading, John?
I finished it about a month ago.
Oh, okay.
And I think that it's a book where you need a little bit of time between Murakami's books
Mm.
before reading it
Mm.
because it is very, very Murakami. Like everything in this book is amped up. And I don't mean like in like a, oh yeah, it's like amped up in like a like the female character is talking about her small boobs every chapter.
Oh man.
Yeah, and which is it's fine, but yeah, it's really long. Anyway, Brian, overall thoughts, The Wind Up Bird.
I mean, it's one of my favorite books. I think it's just because of like certain books make you feel certain ways, and this one makes me feel like nothing else. It just like it's like a kind of a weird feeling that I like just how it is written. It's very my type of deal, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to get a little weird, and this is one of the books that will help you get there.
You need to get a little weird. Yeah, this book became, and thank you, Brian, for the recommendation because
Mm,
it became one of my favorite books. Murakami became one of my favorite authors. Yeah. Anyway, it's like you said, it just it gives you the feeling. Same. Like I can't do drugs anymore. I've said it before on this podcast. I can't do drugs, so I need to be able to, read, and that be like drugs.
yeah.
Oh,
Mm,
also Hard Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World.
mm.
Very good one.
That is a good one.
But so is Kafka on the Shore. All right, guys. Well, this is something that I knew was going to be hard to discuss, but you guys, you guys did wonderfully, and I can't thank you enough for coming on and for reading the book with me.
Of course.
Holy shit,
Yeah.
it's fun.
That's the
Yeah,
second time in 20 years I've read that.
Fuck yeah.
that was a cool experience. I definitely don't regret it. I did enjoy it.
Hell yeah. Well, all right. Well, hopefully we can do it again sometime, and I'll see you guys at work. Toodaloo.